I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Finally, The Rock has come back. I hate this idea that you're the best.
And if you're not down with that, we got two words for ya!
I'm the best in the world.
I fight at WrestleMania for the very, very small percentage of people that walk this planet and say I am proud to be, I'm sorry, a professional wrestler.
Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
It's Podcast of the Immortals with your hosts, Matt Bush and Jimmy Bellamy.
To be back on, we're going to need three. That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
Just get it out of the way and have it there. I mean, that's which everything I've listened to, they say, spend the money. It's gonna pay off.
We're gonna turn into like WWE, just overly produced. Like we'll have segments in the middle of the show. Like, did you know that Podcasting Immortals was the 1 millionth most active Twitter account?
What we'll do is
during
we'll start live streaming, and then we'll have multi-camera angles.
There you go.
And then we'll have that eggshell stuff, the egg cartons that you put on the wall to help with the sound. And then we can have a recap of what happened the first 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have at least 5 recaps per show in case you missed the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and in
where
case
Stephanie McMahon came in.
In case you missed tonight's pay-per-view, it was all right. I'm going to say out of 10, 6, maybe 7. I'll say 7. A generous 7.
Yeah, I was graded on like an A would be 90%. You know, like I'm in school still. Like I'm in that school mode. B, 80%. And I think it's a C. It was an average pay-per-view. There were a couple bright spots, but it was it felt a little off to me. I don't know if you got that feeling. Like even the good matches, they had botches. The storylines didn't quite click. It all felt like they were like a rudder short of a row team or something. Like it was just like not quite on.
It was a little disjointed, and I felt that way in the tag team triple threat match, and it carried over into other matches. And the crowd, I mean, we had this Miami crowd that was so great after WrestleMania 28. And, I mean, obviously that's not just because of it being in Miami. That's a lot of the European influence, a lot of the hardcore
probably
WWE
the
fans.
15,000 hardcore fans that had traveled out from all over the world to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This time, it just felt like they didn't have much to cheer for. And it was, I mean, I'm afraid I said this about Night of Champions, and based on what I saw and heard from you on Battleground, it was a glorified episode of Raw.
Yeah, Battleground was kind of rough. This was definitely a step up, and it got kicked off right away by an awesome match. Well, not right away, but the pre-show had Damien Sandow versus Kofi Kingston. I came in late; I didn't see the whole match.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah.
I was flipping through channels and came upon it. And it was a standard regular match with a commercial break. Nothing really special. Of course, the match was supposed to be Big E Langston versus Curtis Axel for the IC title. Mm-hmm. Axel apparently was injured at some point this weekend or this week, and they decided to scratch that match. So we got our Sandow and Kofi for nothing. They were able to tease again. Well, we see Sandow come on and cash in his briefcase. That was kind of, I think, the reason they ended up putting Sandow on there. Kofi's perennially their guy who's like, well, we don't have anything for you, so we'll just throw you in here. And he was not on he was not on the pre-show team or the analyst team. Like we had Ziggler, R-Truth, and Caitlyn.
And a fine-looking Caitlyn.
Caitlyn, she's looking good.
Mm-hmm. We haven't seen Caitlyn in a while.
No, and as far as I know, they haven't explained her absence at any point. They haven't said where she's been.
She's just, working out and stuff. Sandow took on Kofi. Sandow won. It was the first Sandow win I've seen in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's... I told Ryan that Sandow was probably going to win that match. Ryan, of course, Ryan Kresge, who hosted the pay-per-view.
Graciously hosted.
Yeah.
As our normal host was at the Packers-Vikings game tonight.
Which I would give a 1 out of 10. You would probably give a 10 out of 10 being a Packers fan, but I'm so glad we didn't watch that game or have anything to do with it.
I was checking my fantasy because I got Aaron Rodgers and Eddie Lacy, and I won both. I won my football game.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much.
I had nobody playing in that game, and I should win my fantasy match, depending how the Seattle Seahawks fare tomorrow.
I'm sure they'll do fine.
Yeah,
but the show really got started with the triple threat tag team championship match between the Usos, the Shield, and Code Dust, which you've so greatly named Cody Rhodes and Goldust, the Team Rhodes. It started a little slow, but then business picked up there, fella.
It was a nice match, but again, it felt a little disjointed with the triple threat rules. Teams, being able to tag in other teams, which we've seen it in years past, and it's worked fine.
Yeah.
But this one, it just seemed a little off. Some of the timing of the moves, and again, the camera work didn't do it any favors. But great finish.
Yeah.
Great finish with Goldust. I was
Goldust.
Screwing up Goldust, but with Goldust giving that punch to Seth Rollins right into Cody Rhodes for a sweet, one of the best crossroads. I'm going to say the best crossroads I've ever seen.
Yeah, he got some airtime. They both did.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. The Usos looked really great, I thought. That Samoan drop that one of them does.
It's Jimmy. Yeah.
Jimmy does it. That's an awesome move.
It is.
I mean, he tosses him up good 5 feet above his head and catches him and slams him down.
And every time I see that, for a millisecond, I think he's going to do a very European uppercut.
Yeah, and I actually wrote that very Samoan drop in my...
Very nicely done.
Yes.
I'm calling it that from now on.
Very nice. They had a huge spot where a superplex to the outside of the ring. Cody Rhodes hit Seth Rollins with it. Landed on the other 4 competitors. Of course, they were strategically placed to catch them. But that was a cool spot. This is awesome chant was just exploding around throughout the whole arena. And then that big, Cody actually reversed the power bomb from Seth Rollins. Turn around, hit him into Goldust. Goldust hit him with the chop, and then into that big crossroads that we had talked about. Big win for the Rhodes brothers, Code Dust, and just a really great match to start the match.
What I like about the way it was booked is that the Usos should still contend for the tag titles. That should be a nice program. I'm interested in seeing where that goes, if both teams will operate as baby faces. And with Shield, I'm never concerned about them losing because they're always going to be involved in some kind of marquee matchup. And I look forward to seeing each individual evolve, whether it be as a member of the Shield or as a competitor like Dean Ambrose did tonight, fighting in a singles match with the title on the line.
Yeah. The Usos just need... We've talked about this before, like, the Bellas used to be just the Bellas. It was one of them is out there right now. But now it's Nikki and Brie. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't think of them as the Bellas. You think of them, oh, there's Nikki, there's Brie. And the Usos need that. They need some kind of differential thing where, like, oh, there's Jimmy. Oh, there's Jay. And they need, like, that personality to come out so we can really get behind, like, who's in the ring. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, one of the Usos did something.
Do you want to know how I can tell them apart?
The tattoo.
The tattoo. And I tell it apart because Jimmy does not have the tattoo on his chest. And I tell myself, as someone named Jimmy, I would never have a tattoo on my chest. So I'm like, all right, there you go. Jimmy's the one without the tattoo on his chest.
Yep.
So, Jimmy Uso, don't get a tattoo on your chest because I'm sure you are listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
And if you do get a tattoo on your chest, I won't be able... As long as it's not a name on your left boob, I guess I'll be able to tell what it is. Or
puts it on his right boob or something. But yeah, just awesome. I mean, all 3 teams can go. Goldust still looks great, of course. We've talked about that. The Usos looked awesome. And of course, the Shield never have a bad match. And I just wanted to let you know that tonight's episode of Podcasting the Immortals, episode 48,
Is it 3? 43?
42 or 3.
It's 43. It's not 42.
It's not. That's 43 for sure. Episode 43 of Podcast Immortals is brought to you by John Cena's Fastlane. You can download that on the iTunes store. You can race cars with John Cena. You can't see me on the side. Of course, WWE is backing John Cena's Fastlane.
I want to thank WrestleNews.com for sponsoring us and bringing this to you. For everyone listening at WrestleNews.com, WrestleNews with a Z, and everybody listening to us on iTunes and anywhere else you've found us. We thank you. But
maybe you clicked on the link in John Cena's Fastlane.
Yeah.
But if you didn't see the pay-per-view, they had it's this new game on the iTunes store where you race cars and modify them, and apparently it's WWE related because John Cena is in the game doing something. I didn't really understand it. What the hell?
It's just what they're doing to... I can see Vince McMahon being the one to say, while Cena's on this pay-per-view, we're going to have X amount of buys that we wouldn't have had if Cena wasn't on the pay-per-view. So let's run the John Cena Fastlane ad and get more money because we know that there are going to be a lot of kids watching. We're going to beg their parents to let them download this. We'll get some extra cash. I'm sure that was the plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember about halfway through the commercial for it, and I'm just like, I look at you guys and I'm like, what the hell?
Haven't you seen that before?
No, I haven't seen that before.
They've shown that for months.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well,
you might be too busy watching the WWE app.
Probably, in between.
And watching videos on how to download it.
Yeah.
By the way,
and the recaps.
Thank you for showing me the Kane Pyro.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to say this, Kane Pyro fail. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
But I had always wondered when he brings his hands down or his arms down to have the ring post shoot up fire, if he has ever either screwed up the timing of it or not had it happen. And I don't even know how I think you just mentioned it out of the blue because he did it tonight, of course.
Yeah.
And that was awesome to see that. To see his reaction.
If you haven't seen it, it was when he was tag team champion with, I think
it was fighting the Big Show.
No, he was tag team.
Okay, because in watching it, I thought they were saying Big Show's opponent, but maybe they were teaming up.
I believe they were. But he comes out, he does the the arm thing, raises it up, and then he does where he crosses his arms. And when he did that, the flames are supposed to come up. Well, no flames obviously came up, and he had this grin on his face, and he kind of looked around. Big Show was kind of
and it was funny.
giggling.
Big Show was holding real tight
bracing for it.
To anticipate the flames, and then when they didn't come, he kind of was like, oh.
Yeah. That has to be one of the most embarrassing things.
And it's a quick 26-second clip on YouTube.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Check it out. Another botch like that was Randy Orton had won the Royal Rumble 4 years ago. I can't remember the last time he won.
Did he have to point to the WrestleMania sign several times?
Yeah, and he kept pointing at it, and he's like, what? And they're yelling at him, get on the ring post! And he's like, huh?
I'm going to have to look that up.
And he finally gets onto the ring post, and then he points, and then the fireworks go off, of course. But I don't know why they had to have that specific shot, but obviously someone messed up. Just brilliant stuff. I love that kind of stuff, finding all the messed up things.
I'm going to look that up again.
You should. Next up, Miz comes out for whatever, and he calls out Bray Wyatt.
And I thought I was watching Raw.
Yeah. Rowan and Harper end up meeting the Miz in the ring. Bryce, what are we? Oh, World Series on. Okay. Bray doesn't come out, but we want Kane chant starts coming from the crowd. Obviously, they were in on what was about to happen next, and Kane's music hits, and he gingerly takes care of the Wyatts.
And
it was the lamest ring clearing I've ever seen.
This was the definition of disjointed. I like the Wyatts. I like their potential, but right now it's potential in a lot of ways. Luke Harper and Eric Rowan are a little sluggish, a little sloppy. They're bigger guys, and just the way that ring cleared. It was a struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
you got Kane returning with a lot of rust.
Yeah.
A little older.
You could see it just falling off of him as he was
Speaking of going back to that triple threat tag match for a brief moment,
Sure.
Roman Reigns. When
it looked like a Divas match for a minute there.
He was holding Goldust, and who hit? Was it
Cody hit both of them.
Okay,
and Goldust flipped over, and Roman Reigns was supposed to go with him.
Yeah.
And he didn't, and he tried to like jump over, and he didn't quite make it.
So he was
dangling on
suspended in the air
on the top rope.
What he should have done was just fall down on the canvas and then roll out.
Yeah.
But he was going over the ropes.
Yeah.
He was going over the ropes. He was hell bent on it, and it took a few tries, but it was a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was a little rough. This pay-per-view is full of those kind of moments. It was really weird. Goldust had a couple moments in that match where it clearly was a botch. Like, it just didn't look right.
Yeah, even Kane trying to slam Luke Harper at one time, like they ended up just trying to do something else because it didn't work.
Yeah.
And Goldust, when he got picked up by Reigns, he got picked up weird. He fell funny. It just, yeah.
Yeah, it was all very strange. But Kane comes down. He gingerly takes care of the Wyatts very, very casually. But then The Miz is standing there after he had been attacked. Kane turns to him and choke slams him, so looks like Kane is back for being the devil's favorite demon or something. I don't know. Next up, we had Fandango and Summer Rae in a mixed tag match against Khali and Natalya. Unannounced match, which is weird because you'd think they'd want to sell the pay-per-view with this huge matchup.
It disappoints me that they would throw a match like this on there. I mean, especially unannounced when you have 3 hours of Raw every Monday.
Yeah.
And instead of putting a group of wrestlers together, whether it be 2 or 4, and having a feud develop and build enough where you would have a match pay off on a pay-per-view, you show minutes and minutes and minutes of replays of what happened earlier in the night on Raw, or what happened on SmackDown, or what happened on a previous episode of Raw. Or you show that John Cena Superman promo several times in a night. It's just stupid. And then you have a match like this. I was okay with the Miz promo, but I got upset once this crappy match came on, combined with the Miz promo, because I wanted Kane to come back as a member of the Wyatts or something. Because, okay, so they take him out. They carry him out after that match he had with Bray Wyatt. He disappears for months. No explanation where he's been. Now he's just back and he's beating up the Wyatts. Like, what happened? Yeah. I mean, why? I don't know. So this match, anytime I see Khali, as long as it's not a one-on-one match with Titus O'Neil, I can't think of anything worse than having Khali in a match. It's
just pretty bad.
It's a waste. I mean, you're telling the viewers, get up and go to the bathroom right now.
Right now.
In fact, go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom on your TV because we're showing you this garbage.
Yeah. Well, and like, why can't they have a feud? Like you said, they have all this extra time. You should be able to have multiple storylines going. Natalya hasn't even been with Khali lately. You know, like she was doing her thing in the Divas division. She hasn't been on TV the last few weeks, but I mean, she had been with Khali in recent past. But why were they in a match together? Why were they facing Fandango and Summer Rae? Like, they had never been in the ring. Now they're on a pay-per-view having this match. It was very strange. But Summer Rae actually looked really good in the ring, not just
physically,
looks-wise.
Yeah.
But she actually could go in a ring, and it was her very first match, so that was pretty cool. That was nice to see. I
was happy to see her. I've seen her a couple times on NXT.
Miss Fandango.
I've been impressed with her.
Yeah,
and it was nice. It was nice to see her in the big leagues wrestling.
Now, I posed a question to you earlier.
Yes.
Summer Rae or AJ Lee, and you took Summer Rae, and I was a little shocked by that.
Why?
Because I love me some AJ Lee.
I know, but
and I know that you love yourself some AJ Lee.
I'm you, and I'm you. No, I'm not you.
No,
you are you, and I'm.
You are you.
And look, I don't even know if I feel comfortable talking about this like that, but they're both beautiful women.
Yeah,
and I would be fine going on a date with either one of them.
True,
but If I had to pick, I'm picking Summer Rae.
How come?
She's incredibly attractive.
So is AJ Lee?
Yeah, she is, but
you don't dig the crazy chicks?
no, she's fine. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. But
I'm not putting you on the hot seat, aren't I?
I'm going Summer Rae. She's more beautiful than AJ Lee.
Wow. Whoa.
She is.
Whoa.
She's more beautiful. Maybe it's the blonde hair. I don't know.
Maybe. Do you usually go for more blondes?
Well, I go for any hair color, really. I mean, and I think my track record shows that.
you have a diverse palette of hair colors.
Yeah,
on the notches on your belt.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what color your hair. You can have a shaved head. I don't care.
Wow.
As long as you're a woman. No.
I'm gonna go shave my head.
All right.
Well, I'm in AJ Lee's corner in this battle.
Well, I'm sure she is thrilled to know that you would rather have sex with her.
Whoa. Yeah. Yeah, I would. Okay. This went weird.
Just now you're figuring that out.
Yeah, well, I knew, but yeah. I wrote in my notes, we're paying for this during this match. Natalya attacked Fandango. Which
we paid for it.
Yeah. Natalya attacked Fandango during the match, which should be a disqualification because there's not supposed to be intergender
contact.
But there was. But she did not get disqualified. Summer Rae then gets a pin in her debut match on a roll-up, and not a bad debut, like I said.
That was fine. And I was just glad to see Fandango's side win. Especially against Khali. If he was going to lose, that would be completely pointless.
Yeah. And you don't want Fandango to lose to Khali.
No.
I mean,
which I think happened a few weeks ago.
I think it did, if I remember. Next up, we had Big E in his replacement match, taking on U.S. champion Dean Ambrose. And I like this match a lot. I really like Big E Langston in his new role as a face.
I hope he builds some momentum. And I know it took Cody Rhodes a little while to build steam as a babyface. Yeah. And I'm hoping that Langston catches on with the crowd.
Yeah.
Because he's a terrific talent. I liked him in his role as kind of the heavy for Dolph Ziggler and for AJ. But if we can get him more TV time as a babyface now, I'm cool with that. I would love to see him and Ziggler reunite as a babyface.
Babyface team.
That'd be great. Especially since Ziggler was on commentary for, I guess, the reaction team or the analyst team.
Yeah.
Get that guy on the pay-per-view fighting.
This match... Well, and you talked about Cody Rhodes getting over as a face. It took a great storyline, with him getting fired... Goldust coming back, having these great matches, almost winning it back. You can get a lot of people over if you put them in the right position to be successful. If not, you get a Drew McIntyre on your hands, like just floundering, or Kofi Kingston. Like no one knows what to do with him. Mm-hmm. But if creative can figure it out, they have the talent on this roster to really do well, and I think Big E Langston is definitely one of those guys.
And the thing, I know, not to dwell on Drew McIntyre, but I know with him, he was married to,
Vince McMahon?
I think was she Tiffany, and now she's she Tiffany in TNA. Someone help us out here.
Miss Tessmacher?
No, she was the blonde one who was she was the GM of ECW for a little while.
Yeah.
What's her name? Was it Tiffany? Or is she Tiffany now?
I can't remember.
Either way, it doesn't matter. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
They were married in real life.
Okay.
And there was something that occurred, I think, at a hotel back in like 08 or 09. I think it was 08. And the police were involved. There was no like physical contact or anything like that. There wasn't like, physical abuse of any kind. But there was some kind of disturbance with the two of them. Police were involved. I don't think he was arrested or anything like that. But they, not long after that, I think they divorced. And since that happened, he has been, cast aside.
Huh.
His push just stopped. And and I think some people who follow wrestling are convinced that is the reason why he's continuing to be held back. Because why
would that be such a big deal for the higher ups that he's no longer married to this woman?
Because I think they still look at it like, you gave us bad publicity.
Well, John Cena got divorced.
I know, but John Cena didn't have police involved.
Randy Orton got divorced. Right?
Yes. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And plus, you're arguing to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I am in agreement with you.
Yeah.
But because Drew McIntyre's been wrestling, I think, since he was 15, and he's 26 now. So I mean, he's a terrific wrestler.
He's only 26.
Yeah, he's a terrific 26 or 28. I'm looking it up right now. But he's a terrific wrestler. He is, not put in a position that makes it fair on him, in a sense that if you're Joe Blow watching wrestling, you're gonna be like, oh well, this guy sucks. He's in 3MB. Well, no, he's a great wrestler. They're just not giving him anything.
Yeah, his last thing was he was supposed to be fired because he lost all these matches in a row, and then he lost again, and he wasn't fired. So that was his last big storyline.
He's 28 years old.
28.
Yeah, Drew Galloway is his real name. He's 28, and God, is it Tiffany? I don't know. Her real name's Taryn Terrell. I'll look it up.
All right. But this Big E Langston match versus Dean Ambrose, I loved. I thought it was really good.
She was Tiffany.
Well, there you go. She was really great in the 80s when she sang in all those malls and stuff.
I think we're alone
now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. Yeah, you're welcome, ears. Big E got a huge cut on his eye when they smacked faces.
Yeah.
And it looked bad. There was blood all over Dean Ambrose after that, just from being around Big E. But Big E ends up winning by a count out to 10
with a great move that led to that.
Yeah. It was
he speared him
through the ropes.
Yeah. Ambrose.
Yeah.
I was going to say Langston. No, Ambrose was standing on the apron on the ropes, or outside the ropes, and Langston speared him and he went
like Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, Langston flew through too.
And at 300 and whatever pounds he is, that was pretty legit. That was really cool. But he gets a win. They could go forward with this feud, feuding over the U.S. title. That could be a pretty big angle, especially with Dean Ambrose still holding the title, and Shield are always involved.
I wonder if they'll go with a IC title match once Axel is healed, or if they'll just kind of abandon that and just go with a
triple threat.
The US. I think they could do what you said, because Ambrose and Langston worked so well together. Which, if you ask me, with all due respect to Joe Hennig, Curtis Axel, and hopefully he will, if he did get injured in real life, he will heal soon. But this was a great thing for Langston to go up against Dean Ambrose on a pay-per-view.
On the real pay-per-view for a title. Last minute booking too, but they put a good match on. This is one of my favorite of the night.
I hope that Langston's able to have more chances to fight guys like Dean Ambrose and even mix it up with the Shield a bit. It'd be nice to see. And that'd be a great way for him to get the crowd behind him.
Yeah. And Big E's kind of unique because he's got the size and the power, but he also has speed and agility and stuff. He's quite the specimen. I like him a lot.
And Ryan pointed out while we were watching how athletic Ambrose again, Langston is.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, we had our first Hell in a Cell match on this Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. CM Punk taking on Ryback and Paul Heyman in a handicap match. I think the best part of the match was them trying to get Heyman to the ring. It was the most awkward entrance I've ever seen. They were trying to get what is it called?
Cherry picker
to the ring so Heyman could scale the cell and stand on the top of the cell. But they were having some issues, and it took a good 3-4 minutes for him to get down. It felt like, anyways.
It was funny because I didn't know what was happening, but the cherry picker operator is with Heyman, and you just see the thing going from left to right, side to side, side to side.
It kind of felt like Austin Powers
trying to back out of space. And
trying to turn around that giant golf cart he had.
So then they keep showing Punk and Ryback standing in the ring looking out there. And then you see Heyman go forward, and it goes back. It goes forward, then it goes back. Then it starts to veer to the right, like it's going to crash into the stands.
All the while, the announcers start laughing.
And it was brutal. And you go, multi-billion-dollar company, and they can't get this to work.
Yeah. Like, they didn't figure out, like, you know, maybe we should try out this cherry picker before we go on air in front of millions of people. Nah. But Heyman eventually reaches the ring and does some kind of promo, blah, 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 and Paul Heyman, here we go. And Goldberg chant starts almost immediately for Ryback. The crowd was pretty dead, though, after that.
I think I checked my phone more during this match than any other, which is a shame
yeah.
for CM Punk being involved. But I'm so over Punk, Heyman. Yeah. This was the most unnecessarily extended feud I can think of in recent memory.
And I don't know, like, if they thought it was just such a gold storyline or they just didn't know what to do with Punk. Well, Bryan is in the main event. I don't know. This
storyline was wasted with the WWE Championship not being involved. And WWE, like a lot of things, they've ruined the whole Paul Heyman guy thing. Punk started that.
Yeah. Well, just Lesnar and...
No, but Punk started it by saying, I'm a Paul Heyman guy.
True, yeah.
During his pipe bomb, which everybody loves to talk about.
And that's in our tag at the beginning.
Yeah, but even the word pipe bomb, that has been overdone and overplayed by WWE.
Yeah.
But CM Punk and all the people who were Paul Heyman guys, I mean, ECW guys and everything, they're Paul Heyman guys. You're not a Paul Heyman guy because WWE says, all right, I'm going to give this guy to you, and he's going to be your Paul Heyman guy now. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not...
Yeah, here's Ryback.
I mean, because it just feels like, okay, it's like, oh, congratulations, Buff Bagwell just joined NWO.
Yeah.
Oh, Bryan Adams is in NWO now? Okay, cool, yeah, we'll have him. I mean...
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, just a slow start to the match. They needed a little quicker start. But there were some good moments. Punk hit the flying elbow through a table, which got a big burst from the crowd, which is cool. But other than that, I mean, there's some kendo stick happening, like there tends to be in every match involving Punk and Heyman lately. And then Punk hits the GTS for the win, then scales the cell and gets his revenge on Paul Heyman, finally.
Very, I don't know. I'm thankful it's over.
Yeah, hopefully.
But it was a little anticlimactic just because I was hoping that Bork Laser would come out.
Yeah.
But I'm almost happy he didn't because it means, okay, this feud is over. It's done. Crowd got what it wanted. Got to see Punk, give like 40 kendo stick shots to Heyman, who you said probably was wearing a flak jacket, so, probably didn't hurt too bad, which is good for him.
Yeah, because Punk didn't hold back on those kendo shots. He hit him like 15 times, it felt like, or it looked like. And he didn't hold back. He was really slamming him, and then he hits a GTS. And they make such a big deal about it, like, on top of the cage, oh my God! It doesn't hurt anymore if you do a move on top of a cage. It's not like he threw him off the cage.
And I will argue that landing on the chain link fence is better than landing on the wood below the canvas.
Absolutely. But they gotta sell that kind of stuff, you know. Hell in a Cell has kind of lost its luster. It doesn't feel...
I told you.
Yeah.
I told you last episode that was invented at a time when wrestling was getting into its hardest of the hardcore, like 97, 98, 99, 2000, even 2001. 2001, it was kind of still, by that point, it was passe.
Well,
but even in 2000, when Rikishi took that thing off the, off the cell into the pile of hay that was so stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Go watch Lesnar versus Undertaker from like 2002 or 3.
I think that was
2002.
I think.
This is the bloodiest match I've ever seen. Both guys, it looked like I thought they were going to die. I literally thought Undertaker was going to die from blood loss. that whole mat was just covered. I can't even watch it to this day because I still think they're going to die, even though it was 11 years ago.
They're both alive today.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, like someone stop this match.
Stop the damn match.
Yeah, it's an absolutely insane. I mean, but we'll never see that again. Well, at least
someday
Vince is in charge.
It's going to go back. I mean, wrestling will cycle through. They're going to have a hardcore phase again. It might be in 20 years, it might be in 30 years, but we'll get something.
They'll have to be pushed by some other company to do it, though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It just seems out of place because you're like, oh, look at him, he threw him against the fence.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you're not seeing guys wrestle and put their bodies at extra risk.
Yeah,
and I'm fine.
Not that I want that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I'm fine with that. I don't like guys getting hit in the head with anything, and if they're just going to get a chair to the back or they're going to be thrown side first into a set of stairs, that's fine. I don't need to see guys suffer.
And it just seems like they're just doing it because fans expect it, because it's part of the thing that I don't know. Like, if it makes sense storyline wise, put it in there, and if you're really going to go after it, put it in there. But otherwise, I'd rather see a good technical match. Really.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
Next up, we had another joke show. Los Matadors took on the Real Americans. Cesaro looked impressive again. This time he got to show off his spinneroonie. I don't know what to call it other than that.
It's the Cesaro swing.
The Cesaro swing? Is that what they call it?
Or the Cesaroplex.
Cesaroplex.
I think they've been calling it the Cesaro swing.
Okay, Cesaro swing. This time he wasn't trying to pick up like the 400-pound Great Khali. He was taking... I can't remember the Los Matadors' names. Primo and Epico, one of them.
Yeah, it's Eduardo, I think, and I really don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
I don't understand. But he picks him up, and someone counted 29 spins from Cesaro, which was awesome. But I said this while we were watching it. They need to sell it. Like, why would someone get pinned because of that move? Like, say like the blood rushes their head and they pass out, or something like that, where this could be a finishing move. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, he's dizzy.
Yeah,
it seems kind of lame.
And Ryan pointed out that they should have had, because Cesaro saw the effects of this too.
Yeah.
He appeared dizzy after, and what Ryan said was Cesaro should try to do a We the People while trying to stand still and shaking and spinning around.
Los Matadors actually got the win, and then El Torito. Now you had a quote during the show. Do you want to say what it was?
I kind of like El Torito.
And this was a direct quote from Mr. Jimmy Bellamy during the pay-per-view, and I was so shocked by this that I had to put it on our Facebook. So if you saw it, that's a true story.
I think WWE has done a good job with this tag team and with El Torito by having fun with it. So it hasn't looked stupid because they're trying to be serious. They know what it is and they acknowledge it, so they're in on the joke, and that's why I think it's working. The only problem I have is that the Real Americans are on the other side of this joke.
Yeah.
Zeb Coulter looked great when he first got paired with Jack Swagger, and they looked like they were going to be a controversial group or pair. But I think once WWE actually got a little heat for it in real life, they completely
backed off,
let off the gas. And now to see Antonio Cesaro paired with them, even though Jack Swagger's been the one taking the losses in most of these events, I hope this leads to something greater for Cesaro. And it's unfortunate that Coulter and even Swagger, that this team, which there's no reason that, with a few months of a build, the Real Americans couldn't be in a triple threat match for the tag titles and be believable as a winner of that match.
Yeah. I would like to see Cesaro paired as like a kind of like the Big E Langston kind of was, where he was like, there to like, I think Cesaro could be that kind of like tough guy for like a main eventer or something like that. Maybe a Randy Orton or I don't know, someone like that. Alberto Del Rio. They could be the Foreign Legion, or I don't know. But I think he just needs some time in the limelight away from all these joke ones with Khali, with Santino. You know, put him in a real match, because you're going to get a good match, trust me. The guy knows what he's doing.
And hopefully he'll get that chance if they do convert him to a babyface, like is rumored.
Yeah, we'll see. Next match was one that a lot of people were looking forward to, and I count myself amongst them. John Cena returns 2 months after his surgery on his elbow to take on World Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio.
And it went a lot longer than I thought. Yeah. I thought that this would go fairly quickly. I mean, I thought it would make the Sheamus Daniel Bryan match look long from WrestleMania 28.
Yeah.
But it went about 15 minutes or so. And it was, I think, what everybody would expect, in the sense that Cena won. But there was no Sandow cash-in. I don't know. I think it was time for Del Rio to drop the title.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for a month now. But other than that, it was a typical John Cena match. Mm-hmm. What did you think as far as highlights? What were your highlights for that match?
Well, my notes said John Cena's elbow is hurting. This may just play a factor later in the match.
You said that out loud, actually.
Did I?
Yeah.
John Cena... I got a quote from Ryan here. John Cena does drop kicks like a diva does them. Says Ryan Kresge. I thought it was so funny that he said that, because he kind of does. But they showed Sandow waiting backstage with his case, of course. And there was another trope that happened during this match, and it was Del Rio taking off the bandage or whatever he had, the sleeve that Cena had to cover his elbow during the cross arm breaker. Like, that would make it hurt more, you know? Like, why do people assume, like, oh, his bandage is off? Oh no.
I don't know if it's to enhance the effect of it in people's minds, or if they think that the fans are that stupid that they'll think, oh my God, he's taken off that protective gear. I mean, it's not like he was striking the elbow.
Yeah.
I mean, he's being put in a move that, with or without an elbow pad, is going to hurt.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if he was hitting it with something. But he wasn't. He wasn't even punching it.
No. I don't know why they have to do that, but apparently it didn't faze Cena, because Cena was able to actually pick up Del Rio from the cross arm breaker, slam him down.
Two things took place here. One is, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief. You have to be a fan of professional wrestling. But to me, that's taking it too far to say that, oh my God, he's taking this elbow pad off, he's in big trouble. The other thing is, I don't think Cena was in that move long enough. He should have been in it longer before he slammed him. And maybe he wasn't in it long enough or longer because they truly are concerned about possibly damaging it. Yeah. But you can hold that and make it not hurt. You can hold the guy's arm in place, no problem, and not have it hurt. So it should have been sold a lot longer.
Would it have hurt? I think it might have hurt Del Rio if he was in it longer and didn't tap. Because if you're a world heavyweight champion and that's your finishing move, and this guy's got a torn ligament.
That's a good argument.
Yeah.
That's a good argument, but only for Cena could I see all of that going out the window.
But it would just bury Del Rio.
Yeah.
You know, How are you supposed to imagine he could ever beat Cena, a healthy Cena? If
You've swayed me.
Yeah. All right, cool. That doesn't happen very often. So Cena he breaks out of the cross arm breaker, goes for the AA. Del Rio reverses out of it, goes for his own move. Cena reverses that back into the AA, hits it, quick, boom, 1, 2, 3. We have a new world heavyweight champion, the 82-time world champion John Cena.
And they teased twice Sandow looking on the monitor in the back, holding the briefcase, but he never came out.
He didn't want any of John Cena.
No,
not tonight.
No, and I was hoping that even though I knew Cena would win, that ADR would immediately attack him and just put him in that arm breaker then, but that never happened.
No.
We never saw or heard from him.
And I wouldn't want that. I hate when they attack afterwards and then you're like, oh, here it comes, you know. Like, a lot of the times when they have matches, they don't attack after. Like, why would they do it all of a sudden, like, when the... I don't know. Next up, we had our second potty break of the night. Brie took on AJ, and I shouldn't say that.
In fact, I was going to tell you this. I was interested in this match going into the pay-per-view, and I was looking forward to it while we watched it.
No, I really thought that Brie and Daniel Bryan were going to come out as champions. I thought that would be an interesting storyline to go with. You know, this power couple. They're engaged. They got all the titles, you know, going forward. And Brie didn't win, and I was actually really surprised. Because I don't know where they can go with her now after losing 2 or 3 pay-per-views in a row to AJ. AJ wins after a miscue by Brie when Brie hit Nikki with a knee and then taps to the Black Widow. And this could be a possible Bella feud going forward, you know, with the two against each other.
I really have never seen the title runs or pursuits by Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan as being related at all. And the reason is the announcers have never acknowledged that AJ was engaged to Daniel Bryan on TV, on the storylines. They've never mentioned that while saying, because several times during this match they mentioned, oh, Brie Bella, her fiance Daniel Bryan is fighting later tonight for the WWE title.
That is such a natural thing to bring.
But they never have mentioned that. Her opponent was engaged and was going to be married on TV to Daniel Bryan. They've never mentioned that.
Why?
And they've never had,
oh my God.
And they've never had AJ do something to Brie out of like jealousy or out of like vengeance, not vengeance, but out of spite to
like
say
I had him first.
Yeah,
or
they've never done that.
Sloppy seconds.
So to me, and also I can't see a pair of baby faces having the men's and women's titles together. I just called the WWE title the men's title.
Yeah.
But I just that's something that's something that a heel duo would do. I don't see them having a babyface couple do that.
Yeah. But, I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a great match. AJ... I mean, Brie's been a lot better, but she's still not where Natalya is, where AJ is.
No one...
Where Tamina Snuka is.
And they did not mention during the show. They didn't. But shout out again to our boy Callum Johnston. He tweeted us and said, did you know Tamina Snuka is the daughter of Jimmy Snuka? Had no idea.
That cracked me up.
So thank you for that tweet, because I did not know that.
Yeah, that was good.
There's no one in WWE right now who is as good, as far as women wrestlers, as good as Trish Stratus, as good as Lita. There's no one. Lita to me is the best ever.
Yeah.
We can have an argument if you want someday. But I would like to see Brie get to a Trish level of ability. And she's just not there.
Not yet.
I mean, she's not. And it's I don't want to say she's not even close, but I think she will get better than she is now. And then she'd be a believable champion. But right now, AJ's their top woman. I think Natalya is their second best. And I'm sad.
I like Caitlyn.
And Caitlyn would be a close third.
Yeah.
But I'd put Natalya over Caitlyn. And I think Caitlyn and AJ could have had some good matches and swapped the title a couple times.
Yeah,
I just wish that would have gone a little longer.
Because it seems like AJ is becoming this dominating champion that can be beat.
Which I'm cool with.
Yeah, which is fine. But in the meantime, you're kind of hurting those number 2 and 3 people, because once they lose to you, they can't go anywhere with it. You know, the feud's just done.
But Brie's had 2 pay-per-views in a row. Brie's fought for the title now.
Yeah. And I think it's
although it's 3. It's 3 because she was part of that 4-way too in at Night of Champions.
Right. Yeah, I think her time against AJ is probably done.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd be no reason to extend it at this point.
Maybe they'll have Tamina Snuka turn on AJ.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like turn against her or turn her on?
It's both.
Okay.
That led into our main event. Daniel Bryan, of course, taking on Randy Orton for the vacant title for the last 2 months.
Just gross.
Yeah. My money was still on Triple H to win this match.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to win everything, even when matches he's not in. Good match early. Daniel Bryan was just flying all around like he tends to do. And then there was a spot in the match where Bryan just started taking chairs out from underneath the mat and ended up with about 10 in the ring. I didn't really understand what he was trying to go for there, but it set up a spot later on, of course. Orton took advantage and hit Daniel Bryan with a chair. And then Orton stacks up all the chairs in the middle of the ring and superplexes Daniel Bryan onto him. Now, Bryan just hit him with the legs, but it was still really cool. And I was really worried about, like, oh my God, this is going to hurt. Like, you can't land on 10 chairs and not be hurt. It's just going to hurt. So I was glad that Daniel Bryan was not maimed. They
were smart, and he just hit them with his feet. So he came out, I think, no worse for the wear.
No. After this, he only got a 2 count, and Triple H then makes his way to the ring. Asshole chants fill in the arena in Miami. Awesome moment. Orton runs into HBK and knocks him down. Now, this really pissed me off because HBK kicked out of an Undertaker tombstone at WrestleMania twice in successive years. Kicks out of a tombstone, but he can't get up from a little bump from a push.
You don't understand. When you put that referee shirt on, you lose all of your strength. Your defense strength, at least.
Yeah, you lose your shielding.
You can still kick people in the face, but you cannot take a little bump between a wrestler and the ropes.
Well, and everyone was so concerned about HBK, and it's just pathetic. Like, when they were writing this down and doing the storyline, didn't anyone be like, it's not a regular ref, guys, it's Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You just had a moment where Daniel Bryan threw a dozen chairs into the ring.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have someone attempt a chair shot, miss, and hit HBK?
Yeah.
That would make more sense. And the other thing is, too, well, you say, they don't do headshots anymore. Here's the thing. What I didn't like about wrestling and chairs and headshots is that's not realistic. If I go to hit you with a chair, you are putting your bleeping hands up.
Yeah.
You remember, people would say, oh yeah, that guy put his hand up, he got his hand up, what a wuss. Like, in real life, if you were going to get hit with a chair, you would not take it to the head.
Yeah.
If you saw it coming, you would put your arms in the way. So he could have put his hands in the way, something like that. And then I could believe that, okay, yeah, he's down. But to get bumped like that, and I know he was trying to, like, act like he got hit in the eye or something, whatever. But so Triple H comes into the ring. He's with Doc Samson. They go into the cage, into the cell, and Triple H, I think this was smartly done. He went over. Bryan was checking on HBK, saying, "You need to get up and count."
Well, because Daniel Bryan had hit Orton with a flying knee, and he had like a 19 count from the crowd.
Yeah.
1, 2. They were all chanting together.
I think he quit after like 8. He got up. But yeah, it could have been whatever.
And then Triple H is sitting there.
So what was wisely done was Triple H didn't come in and like pedigree Bryan or anything. He grabbed Bryan from behind and like pushed him out of the way.
Yeah.
And I was glad to see that, because I thought if he goes in there and if he like hits a pedigree or something, then to me it would have looked like, okay, they set up this bump.
Yeah.
So Triple H could get into the cell.
Yeah.
But that was a good touch. So then Triple H turns around just in time to run into
another knee. Another flying knee from Daniel Bryan. And of course Shawn saw this, and that's his best friend. His best friend. So he couldn't just let that happen, and he super kicks Daniel Bryan. Orton goes for the pin, and Shawn reluctantly counts 1, 2, 3. And we have a new world... we do have a new World Heavyweight Champion, but we also have a new WWE Champion, and Randy Orton is it. Where do we go from
It's
here?
what I thought. We had no Big Show again for the second time in...
Which was surprising.
The second time in like 4 or 5 pay-per-views, we had no Big Show when I totally expected to have him. Because it was it SummerSlam he didn't show up? I think it was SummerSlam where he didn't show up, where I was like, he's got to be a part of this. I don't care that he wasn't a part of this. I really don't.
Yeah. The booking made sense on this one, at least.
Triple H was outside of the cell before entering, and he was telling Shawn, are you going to do this? Are you going to do this? So there's that part to put in the mind of the viewer. Okay, did Triple H put Shawn Michaels up to this?
Sure.
But what I'm guessing will happen, I don't know if you want to speculate at this point.
I do.
Okay. What I'm guessing will happen based on his reluctancy to count the 1, 2, 3, he is going to say, I kicked Bryan because it was out of an instinct after he, put his hands on Triple H, put his knee on Triple H, I guess. And that's going to be his argument. Triple H is going to say, well done, buddy. I knew you had it in you, whatever. And HBK is going to take exception to Triple H's kudos and say, look, I didn't want to do that. That's not why I did that. I was the referee, so I had to count 3 there. As far as I'm concerned, they should still be fighting for the title. And then I think that will turn Triple H and HBK on each other. And, I mean, you've been talking for a long time that Michaels will get that match, one more match. He'll end Triple H's career. But now Zach Arnold, friend of the show, sent me a text, and he's convinced it's going to be Shawn Michaels versus Daniel Bryan. Now, I haven't had him elaborate further, but I'm wondering, will that be our Survivor Series match? I mean, Survivor Series is one of the big 4.
I don't think it'd be that soon, because I really think Daniel Bryan is going to be part of the Survivor Series team. We're going to have a Team Bryan versus Team Orton, probably. I assume. Although they do tend to have the world or the championship match be the main event still, but I think you would have enough guys on each side. You'd have Big Show, you'd have
the Usos.
I mean, there's a lot of guys who have gotten involved.
Goldust and Code Dust.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a really solid 5-on-5
Orton,
team.
the Shield. That's 4
Shield,
there.
Yeah,
you could have Triple H fight.
Triple H, yeah. Daniel Bryan, I'd love to see CM Punk maybe get on that team. I mean, they're buddies.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
You could have Bryan, Punk, Goldust, and Cody. I'd love to see Dolph Ziggler in there, but I don't think we're going to.
No.
Big Show. He'd be
Big Show, yeah. And, yeah, that'd be an awesome Survivor Series. I mean, it would make sense, and it's the right timing, and CM Punk's done with Heyman. That's what I'd like to see. But, yeah, I don't think we're going to see a Shawn Michaels match at anything other than WrestleMania.
Same here.
Yeah, it's just too big of a draw. I would love either match. I mean, I plan on going. I've never been able to see a Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania before, and I think that'd be my last chance, if he were to wrestle at 30. But I think the more intriguing one would be against Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm. For the sake of history, if it truly would be Triple H's last match, I'm cool with Triple H Michaels at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one or the other, I'm picking Bryan HBK. I've been the one saying I don't want to see HBK fight again. I love the way his career ended, and I love that he would be going against what most wrestlers do.
Yeah.
By coming back over and over, or even at all. I'll take Bryan Triple H, or I'm sorry, Bryan HBK though, because that would be a hell of a match.
That'd be an awesome match. There's been 4 guys that rumors have been really, really heavy about WrestleMania returns. There's Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Bill Goldberg. Let's say you have to pick one guy out of those 4. Which?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold. And who do you have him face?
CM Punk.
CM Punk. That's obvious. Okay, let's go with the other 3. Goldberg, Hulk Hogan, and HBK. Who are you picking?
I'm throwing you a curveball. I'm going with Hulk Hogan.
Okay, how come?
I miss him as a WWE guy. I don't like Hulk Hogan, the human being.
Yeah.
Or Terry Bollea, after seeing Hogan Knows Best and just how screwy his kid is and all that other crap. But I'd like to see him back wrestling in WWE once. I mean, the man's 60. I don't want to see him taking on a regular schedule or even a Rob Van Dam, Chris Jericho, Brock Lesnar schedule. I don't want to see any of that. But I would like to see him back in WWE. I'd like to see him fight at WrestleMania. I don't know who he fights, though. Like, if
Vince?
I don't want to see that, though.
Oh, no, he already fought Vince.
We've seen that, and I don't want to see it.
Someone said John Cena, and I just laughed at it. I'm like, no.
And see, that's the thing, is if he were to come back, I think they'd give him Cena so they could have Cena beat him. So they'd be like, John Cena beat him, he beat The Rock.
Match.
It would be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I know you've got your Goldberg boner. If I saw Goldberg again...
Right now, actually.
if I saw Goldberg again, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. But you had mentioned earlier tonight at the pay-per-view that what if Goldberg and Stone Cold fought at WrestleMania? And I said that would make no sense. You've got guys who've been out for like a decade. Why would they come back and fight each other? That just doesn't
Goldberg
make sense.
said if he came back, he would want to fight Stone Cold more than anyone. They were, during that time, the biggest stars in each company. They had the same look. They had the same popularity. I mean, obviously Stone Cold maintained it longer than Goldberg did. But at his peak, Goldberg was as popular, if not more popular, than Stone Cold.
Yeah.
And everyone had that debate. I remember having this debate with my friend at age 13. He was a Stone Cold guy. I was a Goldberg guy. And we were getting into it. I'm like, Goldberg's undefeated, dude. He would not lose to Stone Cold. Stone Cold loses all the time, you know? And, I just think there's so many people who wanted to see that match at that time and were never able to see it, that it would just write itself. Like, it's just, like, people would pay to I would pay to see that match, you know?
Yeah, I would be fine with seeing it, but I just, that to me it's not plausible to happen.
No, it's not plausible, but I would love to see it. I mean, that's one of those dream matches that I don't think we're ever going to get. But if it happened, I would. That's easily a main event at a WrestleMania. That'd be the showstopper. You know, that'd be Shawn Michaels right there. It'd be great. I would love it. And hey, why don't you guys tweet us? Like, out of those four, who would you want to see come back? What would the match be that you would want to see? What's your dream WrestleMania card? Like, I'm curious. I love talking about this stuff. This is my favorite part of the year where we're heading towards Royal Rumble in January. And
we are at the midway point.
We are at the midway point.
We're 6 months.
Yep. So we're over the hill. We're downhill, going towards WrestleMania, New Orleans, April 3rd, I believe. And
if you say so.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, the balls are going to start rolling. We're probably going to get a Jericho return in January as he is known to come back. And it's just going to start happening, and I'm excited. And maybe tell what your favorite, Survivor Series team would be. I just love to hear this stuff from you guys. That's one of my favorite things about doing this podcast, is getting the feedback from the fans. And just tell us what you think.
I like that interaction. It's a nice extension of the show. It makes me feel like we work on the show 7 days a week, because we can hear from people what they're thinking of the product, what they would like to see, what we are seeing and reacting to. I would like to hear about people's potential Survivor Series teams.
Yeah,
I know people have said, like, what's your all-time Survivor Series team? What if you could choose from everyone, who would you pick? I'm curious to see who you'd like to have of the current roster set up. I think we named our five that are realistically going to happen.
Yeah.
What if they went to the old Survivor Series format and had every match be one of these matches?
Yeah.
And back then, a lot of them, they were 4-on-4, not 5-on-5.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know some of your pairs of four or pairs of four, your sets of four or your sets of five, either way.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It would also be cool if they had like a Divas Survivor Series match. I think they have
it's entirely possible.
You could
that
have
we
a
would see
total
it this
Divas
year.
cast against AJ. I don't know.
We could see it. The only question is, would they give them enough time to have all 8 get in the ring at some point? Because a lot of those 4-on-4s, 6-on-6, so 4-on-4s and 3-on-3, 3-on-3s. I can't even talk. It's late.
Like JBL.
It's almost midnight. Some of them don't even get in there. They just just stand on the side.
But so send us your reactions. Tell us what you thought of Hell in a Cell. Tell us what you think of coming up at Survivor Series in November. and your dream WrestleMania return. Like, let us know what you think. You can do that at Immortals PCast, at 97Bush, at Jimmy Bellamy. Be sure to follow Wrestle News at Wrestle News as well. Thanks, Wrestle News, for hosting us once again. For Jimmy, I'm Matt Bush. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Good job, my boy.
Thanks, man.